What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Fight IQ. Alright, I slipped up and I missed a previous card. I missed the Roundtree card. Yeah, I did 317. And honestly, if there was a card that I could have missed, it was this one, right? There's a lot of very, not bad fights, but very mid-tier fights, okay? If you're wondering why I got the sunglasses on too, I'm in a hole, alright? I'm in a hole, okay? As far as, I'm just in a hole, and we'll leave it at that, alright? No further questions. But yeah, we'll do the normal. We'll start from the bottom. We'll work our way up. Quickly, I want to say thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. We're at, right now, let me check. I'll do a live check for you. We are at, drum roll please. I put a drum roll in here too when I do this. We're at the 135 subscribers, guys. So, thank you for everyone subscribing. Thank you to all the UFC fans. Thank you to all the rugby league fans. Okay, thanks for everyone subscribing. Okay, you're making my dream come true. And it's ceiling is high. Ceiling is high. We've got a long way to go. So let's kick this off though. Let's talk a bit of MMA, a little bit of UFC. For Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez. Okay, I know nothing of either of these women. Presumably, okay. Melissa Martinez, Fatima Klein, alright, they both got, the 7-1s, the 8-1s, Mexico, United States. Similar height. Ooh, Fatima's a little bit taller. I don't know, look guys, I don't know much about either of these women's, right? These women's. Dude, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I didn't research this fight. I'm a big ceilings guy, alright? I judge off of the ceiling height of a person, of an individual. I just feel like Fatima Klein has a much higher ceiling than Melissa Martinez. So give me Fatima Klein. Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis. Alright. Once again, we got a couple guys slipping through the cracks here. 11-3, 8-2. Mitch Ramirez and Mike Davis. Significant strikes, wins by, where are we fighting at? Lightweight? Guys, look, if I'm going to be honest with you, I like Mike Davis here. I'm just going to, well, it's loading. We're having technical difficulties. Once this loads, okay, Mike Davis. Who's Mike Davis for? Okay, he's coming off a loss. No one of real significance anyway. I'm going to go with Mitch Ramirez here. I think Mitch Ramirez is going to get this done. Kennedy Nzakawaku. Kennedy Nzakawu, alright, versus Volta Walker. Listen, here's the thing, guys. I don't like Volta Walker. I don't particularly like the Volta Walkers of the world, okay? I don't know who he last fought. Pretty sure it was Junior Tafa, countryman. Alright, countrymen, if as much as the UFC community, in my opinion, not hates the Tafa brothers, just dislikes it when they're on main cards. I'm a Junior Tafa guy. I like the Junior Tafas and the Justin Tafas and the big Polynesian dudes. They get out there and they slang and bang. And they put your chin on the other side of your face, right? So I like that. I like that in a UFC fighter, right? Especially in my heavyweight fights. The UFC heavyweight division lacks that sometimes in this day and age, right? We miss the Mark Hunts, right? The Francis Ngannous, right? We miss that. We miss the big, heavy hitting knockout punches, okay? And Volta Walker's not that. And Kennedy Nzakawu, he isn't particularly that either, okay? If I'm going to be honest, he's not particularly that either. If you've watched a few Kennedy and Nzakawu fights, right, he used to be a light heavyweight contender. Now he's on a tear at the heavyweight division, and he's doing well, all right? He's doing particularly well. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak. Volta Walker is definitely a step up in competition. Volta Walker is a mountain of a man. I want to see the height. Oh, Kennedy Nzakawu is actually not too much smaller than Volta Walker. I just don't particularly like Volta Walker, right? He's ugly. He's like the evil Johnny. He's like the evil Walker brother, right? Johnny Walker, kind soul, bit goofy, and then he's got the evil brother, Forgive the sick noises that I make, right? I am still under the weather. I am still recovering from a cold, so. But, yeah, look, guys, I really like the stock that's coming out of Kennedy and Jaku at the moment, okay? The finishes he's getting, the story of going from, being a bit of a journeyman at light heavyweight, and now he's on a win streak at heavyweight. All right, he's got a good fight style. So I like that about Kennedy and Jaku, but I think Walter Walker is a serious threat on the ground. We haven't seen too much of Kennedy and Jaku on the ground. I'm going to take Walter Walker here. I'm going to take Walter Walker. As much as I dislike him, I'm going to take Walter Walker to get him down, get Kennedy down, and look for a finish, look for a choke, look for a vicious ground and pound, all right? Because Walter Walker's a big, imposing dude. Lauren Murphy versus Eduardo Mora. I'm going to go with the crafty women's vet here, Lauren Murphy. Mix it up, switch it up. This is not going to be a passing of the guard. This is going to be Lauren Murphy holding the pass. 300 style. I see it being sort of 300 Spartan style. 300 Lauren Murphys standing their ground against the inevitable massive machine, which is time. Inevitably, this Mora individual, you can put her aside and you can sort of put in her place time, because that is the real definition of this fight. It is Lauren Murphy versus the time. So yeah, I've got Lauren Murphy 300 Sparta style. Murphys, what is your profession? It is holding the line. I don't know. I'm going Lauren Murphy here to turn back the clock. Jake Matthews versus Chidi Ninja. Jake Matthews versus Chidi Ninja Kwani. Chidi Ninja Kwani versus Jake Matthews. We're up at welterweight, guys. Jake Matthews has had a few good wins as of recent. Okay. Countryman. He's one of my fellow countrymen from the great, from the land girt by sea. So I'm going to take Jake Matthews here. I'm not going to put too much thought into it. I'm not a huge Chidi Ninja Kwani fan. And, similar to Lauren Murphy, all right, I think the powers that be are really going to beat Chidi Ninja Kwani in this fight rather than Jake Matthews. Max Griffin versus Chris Curtis. All right, Max Griffin, what you know about him, okay? 20 and 11. Let's not count out Max Griffin here, guys. He is a dog. He is that capital D, capital O, capital G. We have seen that from him. But you know who I think is more of a dog? Chris Curtis, okay? He goes out there and he fights some pretty tough fights. A training partner of Sean Strickland, They have this fight style of nonchalant, don't give a fuck, gangster fight style, Americana sort of badass fight style, but it's never truly that, You look at the Chris Curtis and the Sean Stricklands and you think, well, these guys, they're too nonchalant, all right? They're bad boys, and it's going to get them the win, but it never does, in the way of Chris Curtis. So, I don't know, I could see this being a big upset and Max Griffin getting a win here. But I'm going to go Chris Curtis. I'm going to roll because he's a bad boy. He's Americana, all right? And he just doesn't give a shit. He's nonchalant. I'm going to go Chris Curtis here. Down at welterweight, though. Max Griffin welterweight, Chris Curtis welterweight. Lighter man speed. Lighter man, I'm going to say, ooh. No, I think this will be Chris Curtis's win. Junior Tafa, speak of the man. Speak of the man, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Speak of the devil. Anyway, Junior Tafa, Chuko Tokios, I don't know. Junior Tafa, as I was previously mentioned, people don't hate the Tafa brothers. They just don't particularly like it when they make main cards, which is what Junior Tafa's done. But here's my point to then counteract that. If you can push bickies, okay, if you can sell Girl Scout cookies, why take them off the street? You know what I mean? Why put them? Why send them back to the home base? If they can push the bickies, why take them off the street? Junior Tafa, I am predicting vicious second round, early second round knockout. Get back in the win column. Thank you. See ya. Bye. Oh, this is down to light heavyweight. Actually, I don't know. Light heavyweight. I didn't think Junior Tafa fought a light heavyweight. I thought he was a heavyweight. This could be me being casual of sorts, but I think Junior Tafa's still going to get this one done. Unless this Chugo Tukios guy is a grappling expert, which it seems like he kind of is somewhat. Don't know. Vitor Petrino versus Austen Lane. Up at heavyweight, Vitor Petrino has made the step up to heavyweight. There's been a lot of little indiscreet weight class changes here. Austen Lane, he's that, pretty sure he used to be a linebacker, defensive line, I don't know. He used to play NFL. Okay. Versus Vitor Petrino, who we know, he was that sort of next light heavyweight guy. Everyone was sort of looking at him like, well, Vitor Petrino, scary Brazilian, looks a little bit like Alex Pereira. He's our next guy until Anthony Smith guillotined him up. So, I don't know about the heavyweight move for Vitor, but there's one thing, and, I'm not quoted in saying this, but, to call upon it, I will. What's the guy's name? Lucas Tracy. Lucas Tracy's famous theory of lighter man skill, and look, it tends to come about more often than we beg. Restart. More often than not, it tends to happen. Lighter man's skill tends to prevail in these types of fights. Vitor Petrino, I think it's probably going to be Austen Lane. I think Austen Lane's a bit of a bum. And Vitor Petrino, although he showed signs of being a bum against, Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith is still was quite the world-class fighter. So, I'm going to take lighter man skill here. I'm going to take Vitor Petrino to win this one, guys. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charriere. Nate the Train versus Morgan Charriere. I think that's how you say it. We actually broke down this Morgan Charriere fella earlier in the year on the Sean Brady first fight card. This Morgan Charriere guy was actually featured in the first ever episode of Fight IQ, the first ever Fight and Field Insights video on the channel. So I'm going to pick Morgan Charriere just for that, right? Just because he's a day oneer. Calvin Kattar defending his number 15 ranked spot in the featherweight division versus Steve Garcia. Ask me if I know who Steve Garcia is, guys, because I'll answer honestly. I have no idea. No idea. I'm picking Calvin Kattar here, guys. He didn't look too bad. In his previous fight against who most recently fight? Was it Lerone Murphy? Who did he recently fight? I can't even remember. I can't even recall. I think it was Lerone Murphy. It was Zalal. It was that Zalal guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take Calvin Kattar here, guys, because he looked like he looked decent in that fight against Zalal. So I'll take Calvin Kattar here to hold on to that 15 rank spot. Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. All right, Wonderboy Thompson is getting up there in age. But that never sort of seems to slow down Stephen Thompson, all right? I remember when he was, who did he most recently fight? Joaquin Buckley, kind of a vicious knockout. I don't know. Gabriel Bonfim isn't the best fighter in the UFC by any means, okay? I remember when he debuted undefeated. That was very short-lived. He's had one loss. I'd like to see who he recently lost to. I probably should have done research on this, checked this beforehand before getting his in here. Who did he most recently? So he's coming off 2 wins. Oh, he lost to Dalby. Okay. Look, I'll pick Gabriel Bonfim here, guys. I'll pick Gabriel Bonfim. I think the Bonfim brothers are a bit of a generational talent. They just need. This is the big step up fight. And Wonderboy Thompson, a little bit of age setting in. I think more so now than ever. He'd be pushing at 40s. So I'm going to take Gabriel Bonfim here. And then the main event, Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. I would be lying if I said I cared about this, guys. I don't particularly care about this fight. Derrick Lewis has been around since Fire, in the caves. And Tallison Teixeira, just kind of boring. Like, yeah, I've seen a few of his fights, end and finish, blah, 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 blah. But, I don't know, just... You put anyone in front of Derrick Lewis, it's going to be a boring fight. I'm sorry, I just don't like Derrick Lewis fights. I remember watching Derrick Lewis. The last Derrick Lewis fight I was excited for was Derrick Lewis versus probably Taito Ivasa, because he's a countryman. But without countryman aside, my last exciting Derrick Lewis fight was, I don't know, like... Freak, man, I don't know. Francis Ngannou, and that was a terrible fight. I don't know. Derrick Lewis fights, they just don't do it for me anymore, okay, guys? You know, he's got his one-liners. He's kind of fun. I'm not hating on Derrick Lewis. I like Derrick Lewis as a guy. I just don't like his fights. I even like him as a fighter. I just don't like his fights. You know, I would have had Stephen Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim as the main event. I don't know. We got to remember this is a gap filler for Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. I'm just going to go ahead and pick Tallison Teixeira. I think it's a passing of the guard. Derrick Lewis is also getting a little bit old, and Tallison Teixeira, he's a big, lumberous, bumbling buffoon of a body, so I'm going to take Tallison Teixeira here, guys. This could be my worst card of the year. This could be my worst picked card of the year, because I took some real barrel beaters here. Anyways, guys, that's it for the episode. Yeah, gap filler. We got another. I'm always doing these gap filler cards. All right, next week, you know, we get treated to this masterpiece gap filler, and then the week after that, we're back into the regular scheduled. I think it's 318. We're back with 318. We got Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. I'm not too sure. Who else is on that card, guys? Who else is fighting on that card? I'm currently watching 317 too, by the way, guys. I'm multitasking. I'm getting this video ready for the week, and I'm recording the next one. Oh, is this 318? It is 318. And who are these guys in the co-main event? That cannot be the co-main event. Roman Kopylov versus Paulo Costa. Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. God, Phillips. Bro, oh my god, this is bad. Oh, this is bad, guys. There's a couple good fights. There's a couple good fights on here, but nothing's really blowing my socks off. Anyway, we'll address that when we come to it, guys. We'll break that card down when it needs to be done. Thank you guys for watching. This has been another episode of Fight IQ. Okay, it's a Sunday. I'm going to do a little bit of quick editing on this one. I'm going to get this video probably out Monday or Tuesday. I'm not going to post it right away. Maybe even post it Thursday because there's not too much hype behind this card. I'm going to enjoy my coffee. I'm going to go and watch the remainder of these preliminary fights on 317. I'm going to watch the bloody main card, and then I might even do a little bit of a breakdown review on the fights. Just quickly, actually, before I go, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. I should just be getting out of here. But I want to check. And if it'd load for me, that'd be really great. Who won? Ah, damn. Jacoby Smith won. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel. All right, we're trying to get to 200 subs now, and I promise there will be a 100 subscriber special happening. Check out my socials, TikTok, Instagram. I post shorts, little just edited clips from the videos. You know, I post other, TikTok-y content, trying to be an influencer in that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in next week's episode of Fight IQ, or, if you watch Round Recap or anything else. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.